Most people believe the biggest investing mistake is starting too late. Miss your 20s. And many experts make it sound like your financial future is already damaged. They tell you that every year you wait costs you thousands, maybe even millions, because of compound interest. But something doesn't quite add up. If starting early is all that matters, why do some people begin investing at 22 and never become wealthy? Why do others wait until their 30s, 40s, or even later and still build much larger fortunes? What explains the difference? Has the power of compound interest been exaggerated? Or is there something more important hiding beneath the advice that almost everyone repeats? Because once you see it, you may never think about wealth building the same way again. The truth is, most people do not struggle because they started investing late. They struggle because they misunderstand what actually compounds. Everyone talks about money compounding. Almost nobody talks about income compounding, skill compounding, opportunity compounding, business compounding, network compounding. These hidden forms of compounding often create far more wealth than an investment account ever could. A person with a growing income can invest more. A person with valuable skills can earn more opportunities. A person with the right network can open doors that money alone cannot unlock, and that changes everything. In this video, you'll discover the 8 hidden principles that explain why waiting longer to invest can sometimes lead to better results than starting early. By the end, you'll understand why some late starters become wealthy faster than early investors, and the one thing you should focus on before becoming obsessed with your portfolio. Section 1. Most of us have heard the same investing story many times. A teenager starts investing at 18. Every month, they put a small amount of money into the market. They stay patient, never stop investing, and let compound interest do its work. Then another person starts at 35. They invest the same way. They work hard, they save money, they make smart choices. But because they started later, the numbers are not as impressive. Financial books, videos, and teachers often show charts that compare these two people. The teenager ends up with a much larger portfolio. The person who started at 35 spends years trying to catch up. The lesson seems simple: start early or fall behind. This message is repeated so often that many people begin to fear being late. A 25-year-old feels behind. A 30-year-old feels worried. A 40-year-old may feel like they already missed their chance. Some people become so focused on the years they lost that they stop paying attention to the years they still have. They look at compound interest charts and feel regret instead of hope. And on the surface, the math looks convincing. Money invested earlier has more time to grow. More years means more compounding. More compounding means a larger final result. That part is true. Time matters. But there is a problem with the way this story is usually told. It assumes that both people stay exactly the same for the rest of their lives. It assumes they earn similar incomes, have similar skills, receive similar opportunities, and make similar decisions. Real life does not work that way. The teenager who starts investing at 18 may never increase their income very much. They may never learn valuable skills. They may never build a business or create new opportunities. Meanwhile, the person who starts at 35 may spend those years growing their career, increasing their income, building strong relationships, and creating sources of wealth that did not exist before. The investing charts rarely show that part of the story. They focus only on the money being invested, not on the person doing the investing. And that missing piece changes everything. If this story were the whole truth, every early investor would become wealthy. But reality tells a different story. Section 2. To see the hidden problem, imagine 2 investors. Investor A starts at 18. They do exactly what every financial book recommends. They open an investment account early and begin putting money into it every month. They feel proud because they started before most people. But there is one problem. Their income barely changes. At 18, they invest a small amount. At 25, they are still investing a small amount. At 35, the amount is only a little higher. Their investments keep growing, but the money going into the account stays limited because their earning power never grows much. Now look at Investor B. Investor B does not start investing right away. Instead, they spend years building skills. They learn new things. They take on bigger responsibilities. They switch to better opportunities. They focus on increasing what they can earn. At first, it does not look impressive. While Investor A is investing every month, Investor B seems to be falling behind. But something important is happening beneath the surface. Every new skill increases their value. Every promotion raises their income. Every opportunity gives them more options. By age 32, Investor B finally begins investing. From the outside, it looks late. But now they can invest 5 times more than investor A, maybe even 10 times more. Suddenly, the race looks very different. This is the part that many investing stories leave out. They focus almost entirely on when you start. They spend very little time talking about how much you can actually invest. Yet the amount invested often matters more than the starting date. After all, compound interest can only grow the money you put into it. A small amount growing for a long time is powerful, but a much larger amount growing for many years can be even more powerful. This is where a different kind of compounding begins to matter. Not money compounding, earning power compounding. Earning power compounding happens when your ability to earn grows year after year. A new skill leads to a better job. A better job leads to higher income. Higher income creates more savings. More savings create larger investments. Each step makes the next step easier. And once that cycle starts, wealth can grow much faster than most people expect. That is why some people who seem late are not really late at all. They spent those years building the engine that would eventually fund their investments. Section 3. Imagine 2 people graduating from high school at the same time. The first person gets a job as a cashier at age 18. They hear the advice to start investing early, so they begin right away. Every month, they put a small amount into an investment account. Year after year, they stay consistent. At 25, they are still investing small amounts. At 35, they are still investing small amounts. Their portfolio grows but slowly, because there is only so much money they can add each month. Now look at the second person. Instead of investing right away, they spend years learning a difficult skill. They go through training, they study, they work long hours. For a while it seems like they are falling behind. Their friends are investing. They are still learning. Then, after years of effort, they become a doctor. Suddenly, everything changes. Their income jumps far above what it was before. What the cashier invests in a year, the doctor may be able to invest in a few months. At first, the cashier has a large head start. But as the years pass, the doctor begins catching up faster and faster. Not because compound interest stopped working. Not because starting early became useless. But because a much larger amount of money is now flowing into the investments. This is where many people become confused. They think investing success is mostly about the starting line. In reality, it is often about what happens after the starting line. A person who increases their earning power creates a stronger financial engine. That engine can produce larger savings, larger investments, and larger opportunities. The early investor has more time. The high earner has more fuel. And when enough fuel is added to the system, catching up can happen much faster than most people expect. Of course, the best situation would be to start investing early and build a high-income skill at the same time. But real life is rarely perfect. Many people spend years developing themselves before their income rises. That does not mean those years were wasted. In many cases, those years were spent building the very thing that would make wealth possible later. Because when it comes to building wealth, there is an important principle that most people never hear. The size of the engine matters more than when the engine started. Section 4. When people hear the word compounding, they usually think about money. They imagine dollars growing into more dollars. They picture investment accounts getting larger year after year. But money is often not the first thing that compounds. In many cases, it is the last. Long before money begins to grow, 4 other things are usually growing in the background. The first is skills. Every new skill makes you a little more valuable. One skill may help you get a better job. Another may help you solve bigger problems. Over time, those skills stack on top of each other. A person who keeps learning becomes more capable every year. That is compounding. The second is knowledge. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn even more. Ideas begin to connect. Patterns become easier to see. Better decisions become easier to make. A small amount of knowledge today can lead to much greater knowledge in the future. That is compounding too. The third is relationships. Many opportunities come through people. A person you meet today may introduce you to someone important years later. A simple conversation can lead to a new job, a business partnership, or a life-changing opportunity. Strong relationships often grow in value over time. That is another form of compounding. The fourth is income. Skills increase knowledge. Knowledge creates opportunities. Opportunities often lead to higher income. Then something powerful happens. As income grows, your ability to save and invest grows with it. Someone investing $100 each month has one level of investing power. Someone investing $1,000 each month has a completely different level of investing power. And that difference can change the entire outcome. This is why focusing only on investment returns can be misleading. Investment growth is important, but before money can compound, there must be money available to invest. That money usually comes from years of building skills, gaining knowledge, creating relationships, and increasing income. These invisible assets are often doing the hard work long before an investment account starts to grow. They quietly increase your future investing capacity. They expand the amount of capital you can put to work. And once that larger capital begins compounding, the results can become much bigger than most people expect. Money matters, but money is often the final chapter in a much longer compounding story. Section 5, one of the biggest money myths ever created, sounds simple. Just invest and you will get rich. At first, it sounds reasonable. After all, investing is important. Good investments can grow for years. Compound interest can turn small amounts into larger amounts over time. But there is a problem. Many people hear this advice and assume that investing alone is the main reason wealthy people become wealthy. In reality, that is usually not what happened. Investments often amplify wealth. They rarely create wealth on their own. Think about successful entrepreneurs. Many of them did not become wealthy because they invested small amounts every month for decades. They became wealthy because they built businesses that generated large amounts of cash flow. Then they invested that money. Think about executives. Their wealth often came from years of increasing responsibility, leading larger teams, and earning higher incomes. Then they invested that money. Think about specialists such as surgeons, engineers, consultants, or software experts. They spent years developing valuable skills. Those skills increased their earning power. Their higher income created larger savings. Then they invested that money. The same pattern appears again and again. First comes value creation, then comes cash flow, then comes investing. This is an important difference. Investing is not usually the engine. Investing is often the accelerator. An accelerator can make a fast car even faster, but it cannot do much if there is no engine underneath. That is why two people can earn very different results from the same investment returns. One person invests a small amount because their income stays low. Another person invests a large amount because they spent years increasing their earning power. Both receive the same market returns, but one builds wealth much faster because more money is working for them. This does not mean investing is unimportant. Far from it. Investing remains one of the best tools for growing wealth. The misunderstanding is believing that investing comes first. For most wealthy people, it did not. The real breakthrough happened when they increased their ability to create value and generate cash flow. Only then did investing begin to produce life-changing results. And once you understand that, your focus starts to shift. Instead of asking only, how can I get better returns? You begin asking a much more powerful question. How can I increase the amount I have available to invest in the first place? Section 6. At this point, a different picture of wealth should be starting to appear. The common story says that wealth comes from investing early and waiting a long time. But that is only part of the story. The real compound effect is much bigger. It happens in layers. And once you understand these layers, many things about wealth start to make sense. The first layer is skills. This is where everything begins. Skills allow you to solve problems, create value, and do work that other people are willing to pay for. The more useful your skills become, the more opportunities you usually receive. That leads to the second layer, income. As your skills improve, your earning power often increases. You may earn a higher salary, attract better clients, or create new sources of revenue. Income is important because it creates options. It gives you the ability to save more, invest more, and take advantage of opportunities that were not available before. Then comes the third layer, capital. Capital is the money you have available to put to work. This is where many people begin to separate from the crowd. A person with more capital can buy assets, start businesses, make investments, and create additional income streams. Capital gives you leverage. It allows your money to begin working alongside you. Only after these three layers comes the fourth layer, investments. This is the layer most people focus on. They search for better stocks, better funds, and better returns. But investments are strongest when the first three layers are already in place. Think of it like building a house. Investments are the roof. Skills, income, and capital are the foundation. A beautiful roof cannot do much without a strong structure underneath it. Yet many people try to start at layer 4. They become obsessed with investment returns, while ignoring the skills that could increase their income. They focus on growing their portfolio while neglecting the earning power that funds the portfolio. Wealthy people often take a different path. They spend years building layers 1, 2, and 3. They develop valuable skills. They increase their income, they accumulate capital. Then they use investments to multiply what they have already built. This is the framework that explains why some people appear to get wealthy very quickly. In reality, they were not skipping the process. They were simply spending years strengthening the layers that come before investing. And once those layers were strong enough, the final layer began to grow much faster. Section 7 at this point. It may sound like waiting to invest is always the better choice, but that is not the lesson. The goal is not to become anti-investing. Investing is still one of the most powerful tools for building wealth over time. The mistake is thinking that investing is the only thing that matters. There is a balance, and that balance is where many people get confused. Waiting can be useful if you are using that time to build something valuable. If you are learning skills, increasing your knowledge, improving your career, building a business, or raising your earning power, then those years may be creating future opportunities that are worth far more than a small investment account. But there is a danger zone. Waiting without growth is not strategy. It is procrastination. If someone spends 5 years learning valuable skills and increasing their income, that is an investment in their future. If someone spends 5 years doing the same things, avoiding action, and telling themselves they will invest later, that is something completely different. Time alone does not create wealth. Progress creates wealth. This is why there is no single answer that works for everyone. For some people, the best move is to start investing immediately. Maybe they already have stable income. Maybe they already possess valuable skills. Maybe they have money sitting idle that could be working for them. In that case, waiting may offer very little benefit. The sooner they begin investing, the sooner compounding can start. For other people, the better move may be to focus heavily on skill building for a period of time. If learning a new skill could double their income, the long-term reward might be much larger than focusing all their energy on a small investment account. The key is understanding what stage you are in. Are you building the engine, or are you ready to add fuel to it? The smartest approach is often not choosing one or the other. It is doing both whenever possible. Build skills while investing. Increase income while investing. Grow your earning power while allowing your money to compound. That way, every layer is improving at the same time. Because waiting only makes sense when growth is happening underneath the surface. Without growth, waiting becomes expensive. With growth, waiting can become one of the most valuable investments you ever make. Section 8. Imagine two people beginning their financial journey at the same age. The first person becomes obsessed with investing. They read about stocks, study market charts, and spend hours searching for better returns. Every spare dollar goes into their investment account. But over the next 20 years, very little changes in their career. Their income grows slowly. Their skills improve only a little. The amount they can invest each month remains limited. Their investments compound, but not much else does. Now look at the second person. They invest too, but that is not their only focus. They spend time learning valuable skills. They read books. They build relationships. They take on bigger challenges. They look for ways to increase their value in the marketplace. As their skills grow, their income grows. As their income grows, their savings grow. As their savings grow, the amount they can invest grows. Now several things are compounding at the same time. Their knowledge is compounding. Their relationships are compounding. Their earning power is compounding. Their capital is compounding. And their investments are compounding too. At first, the difference between these two people may seem small. 5 years pass, then 10, then 20, and something remarkable happens. The gap becomes enormous. Not because one person found a secret investment, not because one person got lucky, but because one person built multiple compounding systems while the other focused on only one. This is the wealth timeline that most people never see. When they look at a successful person, they notice the large portfolio. What they do not see are the years spent building skills, creating opportunities, increasing income, and developing relationships. They see the final result. They miss the layers underneath it. That is why wealth often appears faster than it really is. The visible growth is only the last stage of a much longer process. And that brings us back to the question we started with. Is starting early important? Of course, time is valuable. But time is not the only thing that compounds. The people who build the most wealth are usually not the ones who compound only money. They are the ones who compound skills, knowledge, relationships, income, capital, and investments together. Because in the end, the goal was never simply to start the earliest. The goal was to become the strongest. And strength, not timing alone, is what creates extraordinary wealth. Most people spend years looking backward. They regret not investing at 18. They regret not buying certain stocks. They regret the opportunities they missed. But regret is one of the least profitable investments you can make. No amount of regret can change the past. It can only steal energy from the future. The truth is that wealth is not built by finding the perfect starting point. It is built by continuously increasing your ability to create value. Yes, compound interest is powerful. $1 invested today can become many dollars in the future. But the greatest compound effect in your life may not come from your portfolio. It may come from your skills, the skills that make you more valuable each year. It may come from your knowledge, the knowledge that helps you make better decisions over time. It may come from your network, the relationships that open doors and create opportunities you could never create alone. And it may come from your earning power, the ability to generate more income, save more money, and invest larger amounts as the years go by. These are the things that allow you to invest more, own more, and build more. They are the hidden engines behind long-term wealth. So stop asking yourself, did I start too late? Ask a different question instead. What can I compound today? What skill can you improve? What knowledge can you gain? What relationship can you strengthen? What opportunity can you create? Because every one of those things can grow over time. And when they grow together, they create results that often surprise people. Years from now, nobody will care when you started. They will not see the date you opened your first investment account. They will not see the years you spent worrying about being behind. They will only see where you arrived. And that journey begins the moment you decide to start compounding something today.